welcome back to my series called Everybody Has a Story. Now, I'm really excited about this series because it gives other people a chance to tell their impacting and inspiring stories, because you've heard so many of my stories, so it's so cool to reach out to my friends and family to get them to tell something really meaningful that you guys can learn from. So last time you heard my cousin's story, and today you're hearing my sister Mandi's story. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with my sister Mandii. We do videos together all of the time, but she does have a very dark and unfortunate story to tell you about her and her ex-boyfriend, and I think she'll be able to give you guys some really good advice. So because I am not the one telling the story today, I'm going to be leaving it up to Mandii to go ahead and take this over and tell you guys what happened to her a few years ago. So I hope you enjoy, and if you have gone through this as well and want to give other people in the comments some advice, totally go for it. All right, here you go. Okay, so after my whole bullying situation, I ended up coming back to school after being homeschooled for a full semester and just working on myself and getting myself back to, you know, not really caring what anybody thought. And I just wanted to come back and finish my high school years off and graduate feeling good and feeling like the people who did me wrong didn't win, because I didn't want to leave this school because I didn't want them to feel like they won that battle. So I ended up going back my grade 12 year, and when I went back I met this guy. He was in my class and he was actually a guy that I had a crush on for a really long time, like my entirety of high school. I really liked him. I thought he was attractive. I didn't really know him, like I never spoke to him before, but I knew of him. I also knew that a lot of people were afraid of him because he was a very rowdy guy. Like he would get into a lot of fights, and you know, nobody ever really messed with him. He was really tough. So rumors got out that I liked this guy because I, you know, would talk about it, I guess, I don't know. And he found out about it, and he ended up messaging me first and telling me, you know, like, hey, how's it going? Because he heard that I liked him, so he, I guess, wanted to engage. So long story short, I ended up dating this guy, and as soon as I started dating this guy, nobody messed with me. Like, from the whole bullying situation, like nobody said anything to me anymore, like nobody spread any rumors. Let's call this guy, okay, we'll call him Trevor. This guy's name is Trevor. It's not his real name, but we'll just call him Trevor. Yeah, if he found out that anyone was saying anything bad about me or messing with me, like he would have their heads. It wouldn't be good. So like nobody messed with me, and I was like so grateful for Trevor because, you know, like if I had him that whole time, like nothing would have ever happened to me with my whole bullying thing. So it was like I was so grateful and I was so thankful, and I felt like I owed him something, which is my first mistake. After a few months, I started realizing some negative things about Trevor. He was a very violent person. He would like try to get into fights and like want to get into fights with people, whether that be like classmates, teachers, families, friends, just anybody. And he would like, you know, randomly have these weird outbursts of like aggression, would throw things and kick things that were on the ground and just like whatever for no reason. And he had a really nasty like temper, so he would like snap like so fast for no reason all the time. So this was a problem because you guys know I'm a really calm, collected person. Like I don't really like confrontation. I'm relatively peaceful person, and he was like the complete opposite. But I stuck around with him because I felt like I had to owe him, you know, I owed him something for helping me my last year of high school, making it so easy for me. Anyways, I'm trying to keep this as short as I can. Whenever we would get into fights, he would like punch the walls beside my face, and he would take things out of my hands and throw them, and like he was very controlling. So not only was he very violent and like aggressive, but he was also very, very, very controlling. He didn't like me going out with my girlfriends without him. He constantly had to be texting me, and if I didn't text him back, he would get mad at me. You know, like he didn't want me like going out and having fun without him. He didn't like me talking to any of my guy friends. And at the time, like I did have friends who were guys, and if he went on my phone and he saw like pictures of the group of us, or if he saw them texting me or whatever, he would like scream at me and like force me to stop talking to them or stop being their friends or whatever. You know, it was just a lot. I wanted to stop dating him shortly after, or shortly before prom, towards the end of the year, because I had just had enough of him like screaming at me and yelling at me and controlling me. So I ended up trying to cut it off as best as I could, and I think he kind of got the picture, but he also knew that I really wanted to get promposed to, because like back then I was like super into like promposals. Like it was so lame, but like I really wanted that. Like I wanted a promposal and I wanted to get like taken to prom and all this stuff. So he knew that from my best friend, and he decided to take me out one day and promposed to me in a really cute manner. And you know, like I couldn't say no to him, but I did tell him, I did warn him, I said this is your last chance. I'm not gonna give you another one, so if you mess up again, then it's over and that's it. And he was like, you know, like yeah, okay, yeah, whatever, like sure. We went to prom together, and right after prom we all decided to go to the after prom, which is at a beach. A big portion of my graduating class was there at this beach in like a bunch of cabins or cottages or whatever, so it was like a bunch of us, and like a lot of people that I really don't like and didn't like, and people that didn't like me from the whole bullying thing. But like I said, nobody said anything to me because Trevor. But anyways, I decided to go because I had my own friends that were gonna be there, so whatever, I decided to go. For the majority of the time, Trevor was out doing his own thing. He was with his own friends, and I hardly ever saw him until like the end of the night when he was like out of it and just wanted to like sleep or whatever. So I would see him late at night and I would see him in the morning, and then the rest of the time he would be gone. So I don't know what he was doing in those periods of times. I was at the beach one day with him and my best friend Heather and a few other people, and my friend Heather and I absolutely love sushi, and so we got up and we decided that we were gonna go searching for sushi. This was literally like the most innocent, like purest thing ever. So I got up and I was on my way out to go exploring this like boardwalk where all these restaurants were with Heather, and Trevor came up and he was like, what are you guys doing? Where are you guys going? And I was like, we're gonna go find sushi. We really want sushi. And I remember him like sitting and me standing and him like grabbing onto my legs and being like, no, don't leave me, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, I'm gonna leave, but you can come if you want, but if not, I'll just meet with you later because I just want to go now and find sushi. And it was kind of like jokes because he was like grabbing onto my legs like jokingly and being like, don't leave, whatever. And I was just like, no, I'm gonna leave, bye. So I didn't think that what was about to happen in my future was gonna happen because I thought that it was all like fun and games. But I ended up leaving, and Heather and I were gone for, I don't know, like 2 hours or whatever. And we ended up coming back to the hotel, the motel that we were at, and the motel had a pool and everything. So we were in the pool, we were having fun, we were laughing and playing, and all of a sudden Trevor comes out of nowhere and he's like mad. And when he's mad, like he's like grunting and he has his fists like this, and he's like walking back and forth and like pacing and like just like huffing and puffing in his face. Like it's like an actual 2-year-old throwing a tantrum, but like a full-grown man doing it. So it's like ridiculous, but also like borderline like psychotic. But it was kind of intimidating because it's like I'm the girlfriend that has to deal with this. He was mad and I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. Like I know where this is gonna go. I don't feel like getting yelled at. I'm in a really good mood. I'm in the pool with my best friend having a good time, and he's just mad, and I'm like, I'm not dealing with it. Like I don't want to hear it. I don't want to deal with it. And there was this girl that was there that was friends with both of us, and she was like, Mandii, like you really need to talk to Trevor. He's really mad. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. And she just kept trying to convince me to talk to him, and I was like, no, like I don't want to talk to him. Like I've had enough of this. Like like being treated like this. I don't want to deal with it. He's bringing down my vibe, my mood. And then he just kind of ran up and he was like, Mandii, you're breaking my heart right now. Like, I need to talk to you. Why won't you talk to me? And I was like, okay, fine. Like, if you're gonna like make a scene right now, like fine. Like, you're telling me your heart's breaking. Like, obviously I knew he was just saying that to get me to talk to him, but whatever. Like, obviously I'm his girlfriend at the time. I'm gonna see what's going on. So we went into the motel room, and the motel room is the sketchiest thing. There's no windows. There's only one way in, one way out, and it's like sketchy in there, but it was like the cheap, you know, after prom high school thing to do. So he locks the door and he's standing in front of the door, like the only way out. He was enraged, and the last time I saw him, we were on the beach and he was hugging my legs, and now he's like freaking out and like enraged with me, mad that I left him at the beach with all of our friends to go get sushi. Yeah, he started screaming at me and yelling at me, and I remember just being so fed up and like being so done with it, and like just wanting us to break up, like just wanting it to be over, because like I wasn't in the mood, or I didn't have the energy to like sit there and like yell at him and like be yelled at and like engage in something that I really didn't care enough about to like continue on. You know what I mean? Like, if I actually like wanted that relationship to work, then yeah, I would put the energy in, but I really just had enough with him. So I wasn't hearing it, and he saw that I wasn't having it, and that made him even more angry, and I wanted to leave and he wasn't letting me leave, and he was like breaking things like throughout the whole room. And then I started getting a little bit scared. Like, I had never been scared of him before, but I was in that moment, and I remember like thinking back to all the times that he would break my things and like punch the walls beside my face and like scream and yell at me, and how like abusive that was, but I never actually saw it that way until that moment. He like lifted his hands like this, and he had like his hands in a fist, and then he like grabbed my head where my hair is, and he like grabbed like in his hands like my hair, and he shook me. And I remember like thinking like he's gonna hit me, and I got really scared, and he almost did, but he stopped himself and he like realized what he was doing. And then finally, as he realized what he was doing, he like kind of backed up from me, and I'm like, you need to let me out of this room right now. And he did. He let me out of the room, and when I got out of the room, I told my best friend Heather what just happened, and I told her that her dad needed to pick us up right away, even though we were supposed to stay there for another like 2 nights, and he was on his way, but we were like an hour away from home, so we had to like wait. So as we were packing our things, the other girl that was friends with both of us went off with him, because like, I don't know, I think she had like a crush on him or something. I don't know. She ended up coming back as we were like frantically packing our things to leave, and she was like, Mandii, you need to go and like tell Trevor that you're breaking up with him, because he doesn't understand, like he doesn't know that that's what you're doing. Because I never used the words like it's over, we're done. I just figured the man laid his hands on me and scared me and wouldn't let me out of the room. I think he should know that it's done. Like, I shouldn't have to clarify that for him, and the last thing I want to do is see him after that. But she like kept like pushing me and pushing me and pushing me to be like, go and tell him that you guys are over. And like eventually I was like, okay, if I go and find him and tell him that it's over, you girls as my friends need to be there with me and walk away with me when I'm done, no matter what happens. And they both promised me that they would. Like, this is Heather and the other girl. So I ended up going to find him, and I found him in a parking, like this abandoned parking lot, and I had a really bad feeling, like a really bad feeling, and I don't know why I actually went through with it. Now obviously I wouldn't have, but this girl convinced me to do this. So I went, and he was calm because he thought we were gonna like work it out or whatever, but I ended up telling him like, I'm sorry, like it's over, I hope you have the rest of the summer, like everything's okay, because I didn't want him to freak out again. So I was like, things are okay, but like it's over, you know, I'm about to go on like a huge 3-week vacation to Europe, and like that can give us time to like think about things or whatever. I was like putting it in a way that like wouldn't have him freak out. He ended up like stomping his legs on the ground like a child. The way he was acting was like that of a child, but like a grown man, so it's like ridiculous. He was like stomping his legs on the ground, then I immediately started getting uncomfortable because I'm like, okay, here we go, he's gonna have another breakdown. So I got up and was like, okay girls, let's go. So we were on the way back and he like came up behind me and he grabbed my phone out of my hands and he wasn't giving it back to me, and he said that like he would only give it back to me if I talked to him for longer. And I'm like, no, give me my phone back. And I started screaming at him to give me my phone back because he wasn't. And eventually he did, and then when he did, he smacked his head against this car really hard to the point where there was an indent where his head was. And it was like he was so mad that he had to do that, and I'm like, this guy is insane. Like he needs to be like restrained in like a psych ward or something, because like he can't even take what I'm saying to him, that he has to like hurt himself in that way. It was kind of like ridiculous. So I'm like, okay, let's go. And my friend and I, like Heather and I, started walking away, more like running away, and he ran up behind us and he had a longboard at the time and he threw his longboard at us and he was like threatening me, and he was like, I'm gonna call your mom and like tell her that you're leaving me, and I'm gonna tell her this and that. And I'm like, hey, whatever, like do it, like whatever. He's just threatening me and like freaking me out. But eventually Heather's dad showed up and we told them what happened, and I was like shaking and I was crying and I was like so upset for a really long time. And later on, you know, once I got home, like I had a really hard time sleeping at night because like he knew, he would always like longboard to my house all the time, so he knew where I lived. And at one point he actually did show up in the middle of the night when I was like in bed sleeping and like my whole house, like my family was asleep. He showed up at my door. He rang the doorbell. It was like 2 or 3 a.m. and I remember my dad answered the door and like he came up and like asked me like if I wanted to see Trevor or whatever. And I was like, no, like tell him to leave, like tell him to get out of here. And my dad like ended up like telling him off, and he never showed up again. But he would like harass me all like for months, like through social media and like texting and calling and stuff. And it was a really hard time for me because for the longest time I felt like I had to stay with him because I felt like I owed him something for helping me get through my last year of high school. And now I know, I hear that he's like on the streets, like involved with like criminal stuff. I know he is wanted because he just stole a car. I don't know, like he's like this crazy like gang guy now and nobody knows where he is. All we know is that he's like wanted or he's like in jail or something like that. Like he never made anything of himself. The fact that I like think back to like the fact that I was involved with a person like that makes me feel really uncomfortable because like just gross. Like I just feel gross for like ever like kissing him or like, you know, like it just makes me feel super uncomfortable. But I learned a lot from it, and just like so you guys know that if a guy does something nice for you or like goes out of his way to like be there for you or defend you or protect you or whatever, like you deserve that like anyways, and you don't owe that person anything. Like you owe them kindness and you owe them love and whatever, but you don't owe them anything in regards to like your well-being and your physical body or whatever. Like you don't owe them anything. Even if they try to like guilt trip you or make you feel like you do or you should, you don't owe anybody anything. Like it's their decision to like be that person for you, and you know, either way, like you don't need anybody. Like all you need is yourself. So yeah, that's my story in like a nutshell. Like that's like the shortest version of it. So hopefully it's not like a million years long. Okay, thank you for listening. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed Mandii's story. It was very heartbreaking, and when she told me about this for the first time, I was really upset because I feel like my family didn't know the depths of her relationship and how bad it was really going. So I hope you were able to learn a lot from today's video, and if you enjoy this series, please let me know and give this video a thumbs up because I have so many other family members and friends who would love to tell their stories. And as I said before, once I've gone through all of the people closest to me, I would love to reach out to you guys to tell your stories on camera. So yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!